You're probably drinking a cup right now, or thinking about it, or smelling someone else's and wondering if you have time to make one. Coffee is everywhere. It fuels mornings, meetings, late-night study sessions, awkward first dates. But it wasn't always like this. Let's rewind. The story starts in Ethiopia, not in a cafe or a fancy roastery, just out in the wild. There's this goat herder named Kaldi. At least, that's the legend. He notices his goats are acting strange. They're dancing, jumping, looking way too excited for goats. Turns out, they've been munching on little red berries from a certain plant. Kaldi tries them too, and bam, he's wide awake. Did it actually happen like that? Probably not, but it's a good story, and people keep telling it. What's true is that coffee plants are native to Ethiopia. Locals there were using them long before anyone else knew what they were. Eventually, the beans make their way across the Red Sea into Yemen. That's when things really start brewing. Monks in Sufi monasteries begin using coffee to stay alert during prayers. They grind the beans, mix them with water, and drink the whole thing like a potion. No espresso machines, no milk frothers, just a strong, earthy drink that keeps them awake through the night. Pretty soon, coffee isn't just for monks. It starts moving beyond the walls of monasteries and into the hands of regular people. Markets, homes, gatherings. Word spreads. A drink that wakes you up and keeps you focused? That's hard to ignore. In cities across the Arabian Peninsula, a new kind of place starts to appear. Coffee houses. They're called cafe khane. These aren't like modern cafes with indie playlists and plant walls. These are noisy, lively places where people talk, debate, play chess, listen to music. It's where you go to find out what's happening, who's doing what, and maybe how to change the world. In a time before newspapers were common, coffee houses are the original newsfeed. People bring stories, rumors, gossip. And because everyone's caffeinated and opinionated, things get interesting. You could walk into a coffee house in Cairo, Istanbul, or Mecca and hear someone reciting poetry, while a group nearby argues about philosophy, and a merchant negotiates the price of silk in the corner. It's not just entertainment. These gatherings shape public opinion, and that gets the attention of authorities. Governments and religious leaders start getting nervous. All this thinking and talking and questioning, powered by a drink that won't let people sit still. Some rulers actually ban coffee for a while, say it's dangerous, call it a bad influence, even shut down coffee houses completely. But the bans never hold. People like coffee too much. Every time it gets outlawed, it comes back stronger. By the 1600s, the coffee wave hits Europe. It lands in Venice first, through trade with the Ottoman Empire. From there, it spreads quickly. First, people are curious, then they're obsessed. In England, the first coffee house opens in Oxford in 1650. London follows a year later. Within a few decades, there are hundreds of them. They're packed. Writers, scholars, businessmen, political rebels, they all gather over cups of bitter black coffee, talking for hours. If pubs are for escaping reality, coffee houses are for confronting it. Some of these spots even specialize. One might draw in doctors, another caters to merchants. There's one that becomes the birthplace of Lloyd's of London, the insurance giant. People go there to discuss shipping news, and eventually that turns into insuring cargo over coffee. In France, coffee takes off in Paris during the late 1600s. The French do it their way, of course, more elegant, more refined. Coffee becomes a status symbol. The upper class drinks it in porcelain cups, often with sugar, sometimes with cream. Meanwhile, philosophers sip it while writing essays that will reshape politics and society. Some of the big ideas behind the Enlightenment, they were brewed over coffee. By the early 1700s, coffee is everywhere in Europe, but all the beans still come from Arabia, and that's a problem if you're a European empire with expansion plans. The Dutch are the first to break that monopoly. They sneak a few coffee plants out of Yemen and start growing them in Java, modern-day Indonesia. It works. The climate's perfect. The French start plantations in the Caribbean. The Portuguese grow it in Brazil. And this is when coffee goes global in a big way. Colonies become coffee factories. Massive plantations, worked by enslaved people, produce beans for export. The drink may bring joy, energy, and culture, but the industry behind it, at least at this point, is built on suffering. That's the part of coffee's story that's not cozy or romantic. The demand for beans helps fuel the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of lives uprooted, exploited, and destroyed so that Europeans can have their morning brew. That legacy doesn't go away just because the drinks got fancier. It's something to remember every time we talk about coffee's past. Fast forward to the 1800s. In the United States, coffee becomes a staple, especially during war. Civil War soldiers carry it with them. Union troops are obsessed. Some soldiers boil it in whatever they have, a tin cup, a helmet, whatever holds water. It's not gourmet, but it keeps them alert. After the war, coffee becomes a part of everyday life. Big companies like Folgers and Maxwell House start selling pre-ground beans in cans. It's affordable, easy, not the best flavor, but that's not the point. It's quick, hot, And it works. Good to the last drop, as the slogan goes. That's the second wave of coffee. The first wave was about getting it into the hands of the masses. The second wave is about convenience, mass production, mass marketing. Supermarket shelves fill up with coffee that's ready to brew. Diners have pots going all day. Office break rooms get their own coffee stations. Then something changes again. In the 1970s and 80s, small roasters and cafes start popping up. They focus on quality, origin, and flavor. They care about the beans, where they came from, how they were roasted. This is the beginning of the third wave. Coffee as craft, coffee as an experience. And into this world comes a little Seattle-based company you might have heard of, Starbucks. They don't invent espresso in America, but they bring it to the mainstream. Suddenly, people know what a latte is, or a cappuccino, or a frappuccino, which isn't even a real thing in Italy. But hey, people love it. Starbucks turns the coffee shop into a cultural space again, just like the old Cave Cane, only now with Wi-Fi and playlists. Now we're in the modern era. Coffee is everywhere, in every form. Cold brew, nitro, pods, pour-overs, instant. You can spend $1 or $10. You can drink it out of a paper cup, or grind single-origin beans with a hand-cranked burr grinder while wearing an apron and nodding solemnly at your AeroPress timer. Your call. And through all of this, centuries of change, travel, trade, war, rebellion, coffee has stayed pretty much the same at its core. It's a drink that connects people, wakes them up, gets them talking. Whether you're alone on a porch watching the sunrise or surrounded by friends laughing at a noisy table, that little cup of coffee is doing its job. So next time you sip one, maybe pause for a second. Think about the goats, the monks, the rebels, the farmers, the poets. A lot of people carried this drink across time and space to get it into your hands. And somehow, it still tastes better when someone else makes it.